Hello. This is a very, very special time for us. On one hand, I get to share with you some things that are very, very special to me. And on the other hand, you're probably wondering, is Lowell slicing and dicing and cherry picking and hop skipping and jumping and twisting and shouting and just making things fit his interpretation? And so this is a great time for both of us to be able to take a look at how I come up with the 25 prophetic points that I say that have been fulfilled or are being fulfilled between 1925 to now 2023. So this is great. Thank you for the opportunity to share this with you. I really appreciate it because for over the past 24 years, I have been just tenaciously working at this to be able to share it with you. I want to share it with everyone. I want everybody to see it. But you know what? It comes down to the individual, one by one, individually. Each individual has to take a look at the evidence. And they have to ponder and pray on it, or they don't have to pray about it, but they could, and I hope you do. So I'm excited to be able to share this with you, and let's go ahead and just hop right in and start talking about some really important things. 25 prophetic points, Bible prophetic points that have happened or are happening since 1925 to 2023 now. And you might be wondering, well, what is a prophetic point? Well, let me go ahead and explain that. So in the book of Daniel and in the book of Revelation, there are prophetic events that are related to our day. And some events happen just real quick. Other events happen over some time. And one of the things that I had discovered was that both John and Daniel had seen a succession of 8 kings leading up to the return of Christ in power and glory. So look at those kings in the blue. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th one. And the 8th one goes to fight against Christ when Christ returns in power and glory. And so having made that discovery, then what I did is I took the prophetic events and I broke them down into what I call prophetic points. And what I mean by that is that when you take a look at a prophecy, then the prophecy will typically have, it'll have a beginning point, and it typically will have an end point. And John and Daniel and the angels could have mentioned points in between. So this is the opportunity to break down these prophecies into prophetic points, so then we can organize those prophetic points according to which of the 8 kings is in power when those prophetic points play out. It is so valuable, so helpful. And so just real quick, I'll just show you over here that over here we have the prophetic points during the time of the 4th king. And so these are the prophetic points pretty much that all happen all during the time of the 4th king. And then these are the prophetic points that pretty much happen during the time of the 5th king. And then I have it for the 6th and the 7th and the 8th. And so what we're going to go through in this clip here is the first 25. And let's go ahead and get started. So you'll notice that there's these check mark boxes, and you'll notice the green check mark. So the green check mark means that the event has happened. It's over. It's done. Capiche? The gold means that it's possibly in progress right now. And then the red, it means that it's happening right now. So that's how I use the check marks there. All right, so let's go ahead and begin with the prophetic point number 1. So with prophetic point number 1, you can see that it's referencing Daniel chapter 11, verse 2. So let's go ahead and read Daniel chapter 11, verse 1 and 2, so you can see the context of how I'm coming up with that prophetic point. In verse 1, it says, "Also I," this is the angel talking to Daniel, "in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now I will shew thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength through his riches he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia." So there's a few things about this 4th king. This 4th king, he is to be far richer than the first 3 kings. And the other thing is that he's going to use his strength through his riches to stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So who is Grecia? Grecia is the country that the 4th king is stirring up everybody against. Well, that'll give you a little bit of context there. Now, so in prophetic point number 1 is talking about the first king, which I claim is Pahlavi of Persia, Iran, started to rule as a president in 1925. So a king can represent a president or a king. Now, in Revelation chapter 17, verse 10, let's go ahead and read that. "And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space." Let's read verse 11 too. It's very helpful. "And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition." So there's 7 heads, and the 7 heads represent 7 kings. But the beast, the whole image of the beast, is represented by the 8th king. So these 8 kings, they lead up to the return of Christ in power and glory. So in prophetic point number 2, it's Revelation chapter 17, verse 10, it's the first of the 8 kings get in power. That makes sense. So then, when you look at prophetic point number 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, all the way over to the 12th one, this is all about the kings coming into power and then dying, coming into power and then dying, coming into power and then dying. All 3 of those kings come and go. That's what prophetic points 1 through 12 is. All right, so now let's go ahead and hop over to prophetic point number 13. And now you'll see that back in 2013, I claimed that we were on green number 15. And we'll get to that, what that is. But then in 2020, and it holds true for January of 2023, we're on red number 25. So we see progress. From 2013, we have progressed into 10 more that have been fulfilled or are shaping up. That's progress, guys. So this third row here, this is where you get to put check marks in here. So when you think that something might be happening, you could put a gold check mark. And then when you know it's happening, you can change it to red. And then when it gets fulfilled, you can change it to green. Okay? So let's go ahead and look at prophetic point number 13. Daniel chapter 11, verse 2. It says that the fourth king of Persia, Iran, Kamini, started to rule in 1989. Prophetic point number 14 is from Revelation chapter 17, verse 10. It's the fourth king in power. And so look at prophetic point number 15. Daniel chapter 11, verse 2. The fourth king of Persia, Iran, Kamini, is to be far richer than the first three kings. And Kamini is, back in November, I think it was, of 2013, Reuters did a report where they estimated his wealth to be over $95 billion in 2013. In 2016, you may recall President Obama and Vice President Biden flew over $52 billion over there. And on top of the $95 billion, that's over $250 billion. So, and who knows how much money he has amassed on his own during that time. So he is far richer than the first three people before him. They were worth maybe $1 to $3 billion each. So he is far richer. Now let's look at prophetic point number 16. Daniel chapter 11, verse 2. The fourth king of Persia, Iran, Kamini, by his strength through his riches, is to stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So who's Grecia? You may have seen in my other clips where I talk about that Grecia has to be the United States, because that is who Kamini is stirring up everybody against. And then one day, a person said, "Oh, I know why the angel called us Grecia." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because what's the welcoming image of the United States?" And the light went on. Oh my gosh, Statue of Liberty. What does it look like? A Greek goddess. What is the White House with the pillars? What does it look like? Greek structure. What does the Supreme Court building look like? Greek structure. And you got all those statues around there. It looks like Greek structure. You look at the Washington Monument, Greek structure. It's all over the place over there. And so the angel, 2,500 years ago, used a word, Grecia, that Daniel couldn't understand what that meant back then, but we today certainly can. All right, let's go ahead down, look at prophetic point number 17. Daniel chapter 8, verse 3. So what we want to do is start with Daniel chapter 8, verse 1 to get a context of it. In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. Verse 2. And I saw in the vision, and it came to pass, when I saw, that I was at Susan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in the vision, and I was by the river Eli. So let's go ahead and pay attention to verse 3. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and beheld, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. All right. So looking at prophetic point number 17. Daniel chapter 8 verse 3. The ram has two horns, and the two horns are high. The second horn comes higher than the first. And you can see that I have the countries Iran and Turkey mentioned there, and I have the two horns as kings, and I have that the second horn is President Erdogan of Turkey. And the first king you can't see because it's off the edge of the page right there. So I'll go like that, and now you can see that the first king is referring to Khomeini. So this is really, really huge because we've identified 4 kings. That was Pahlavi, his son Pahlavi, and then Khomeini, and then Khomeini. And now, number 17, we're claiming that President Erdogan of Turkey is referenced here. And why am I referencing Erdogan as that there? Well, let's go ahead and read. Prophetic point number 18 is Daniel chapter 8, verse 21. And this is where the angel gives the interpretation of what is meant by the ram that has 2 horns. And it isn't in verse 21, it's verse 20. So let me go ahead and read verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Okay, so we know that Persia was renamed Iran, and so which country is Media? Well, Media, one way we know is that Media is the country in which has a king, a president, someone, a leader, that becomes higher than Khomeini. Khomeini's been in power for over 40 years now, and we've been watching, okay, who is going to become higher than Khomeini? And back on July 15th, 2016, over in Turkey, there was a coup attempt. And that was a Friday. And I had been watching President Erdogan, and I was wondering in the coming years if he might become higher than Khomeini. And then that coup attempt happened, and I thought that he might be out of power that day. And so I was just kind of smiling, laughing, going, wow, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I didn't. The next day, Saturday, Erdogan had regained control. And then on Sunday, someone sent over a link to a website, and I looked, and I couldn't believe it. It talked about how Muslim scholars around the world had written a letter to President Erdogan and saying that, recognizing him as the supreme leader of the entire Muslim world. Prophecy was fulfilled. July 17th, 2016. Erdogan became higher than Khomeini. All right, so let's go ahead and go down to prophetic point number 19. Daniel chapter 8, verse 4. Let's go ahead and read verse 4. It says, "And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great." All right, so let's look at 19, 20, 21, and 22. In prophetic point number 19 is about the ram pushes to the west. And 20, he pushes to the north. And 21, he pushes to the south. Look at 22. The beast So this is Erdogan and Khamenei. No nation, no beast might stand before Khamenei and Erdogan. No nation can stand up to Iran and Turkey as they push to the west, north, and south. And this continues to be fulfilled to this day. This is actually in progress right now. Let's go ahead and look at prophetic point number 23. And if you don't recall, you had ISIS over there, and ISIS was just tearing the place up, and Iran pitched in to clean it up, and so did Turkey. So they were both fighting ISIS, but at the same time, they were both going out of their own countries and going into Iraq and going into Syria. So they were pushing in those different countries there. All right, so down to prophetic point number 23. Again, this is Daniel chapter 8 and verse 4. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his, that's Khamenei and Erdogan's hand. No other nation can stop Iran and Turkey. And that has been playing out. Prophetic point number 24. It's also about Daniel chapter 8 verse 4. But he, Khamenei and Erdogan, did according to his, Khamenei's and Erdogan's will, and became great. Okay, and particularly with Iran, we can see how Khamenei is taking such big dominance over there in the Middle East area. Now, prophetic point number 25 is Daniel chapter 11, verse 3. We already read verse 2. We'll go ahead and read verse 2 and then continue on with verse 3 as well. It says, And now I will shew thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. And a mighty king shall stand up, that shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. That mighty king, I believe, is the 4th king that stands up to do according to his will. So that is prophetic point number 25. Daniel chapter 11, verse 3. He, Khamenei, is described as a mighty king shall stand up and shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. And so far, Khamenei is fulfilling that event there. So that is the first 25 prophetic points. And what you've noticed is that, you can take a look at when Iran and Turkey was pushing to the north, west, and south. I was really shocked that I was seeing that prophecy in progress there. And that was huge to me. It might not be that huge to you. And you look at the 25, and none of them might be that huge to you. But what it does show is that without the slicing and dicing and all that other stuff, these things are playing out in the general order that we would expect them to play out. But it gets much bigger, much bigger. In the next clip, we talk about the 19 prophetic points that are going to be shaping up or in progress or some fulfilled between 2023 to 2024. Just those 2 years, 19. That's huge. We've never had that in over 1,000 years. That has not happened. And it's going to happen 2023 to 2024. It's in addition to the other 25 that have already happened or are in progress. That's a total of 44 of them. So I'm excited about the next clip because some of the things in the 19 are huge. So looking forward to seeing you on the next clip and going through it.